All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's the Raise the Bar podcast. It's Roy Spencer here with my two brothers, and looking forward to, again, connecting and having a conversation about some events that we're putting together. We also just wanted to catch up, talk about some current events, what's been going on with each other. And we're excited to connect with you all. And love to kind of get feedback. If you guys want to share some thoughts, feel free to go ahead and shoot them our way, either in the comment section or feel free to just message us directly. But I'll go ahead and toss it over to you, Bryce.
Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us once again. 1/3 of Raise the Bar podcast. As Roy said, we always look forward and grateful to sharing and talking with you. We appreciate all the feedback, the love and support that we have received during this new journey in life. Definitely want to touch upon some topics and different events that we have coming up in the future. Share some of that. And we had our past event, give you guys some insight on how that unfolded, at the success and the people who were able to show up and be a part of that. It was a very uplifting segment, and share some good information, have some great conversations with each other, and look forward to just kind of informing you all about that. I'll go ahead and pass it on to my brother Ricky.
Good morning, world. Another third of the Raise the Bar podcast. So very delighted and excited to get together with my brothers, have these quality conversations, share our insight on the previous event that we had with some of the young men that are able to come out and just continue to have healthy conversations, how we could build and make this community better for each other. So excited to dive in and just create greatness and have these healthy conversations on forward progress. So gentlemen, how would you like to start off? Where should we begin?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can kind of talk a little bit about the event that you mentioned there. We had last month, I think it was.
Yes.
Time flies, but I'm curious. We were able to meet with a few folks from our, upbringing, some people that we grew up playing basketball with, football with, all kind of stuff, went to school with. And I found it interesting because I know Jason brought his son, young Jason, and I think that was kind of like the highlight of the meetup, just picking his brain on, what was he 14 years old? What a 14-year-old, how he sees the world and some of the challenges that he's facing already. And just, thinking back on when we were his age, what was life like for us? What do we wish that we knew? I think it was really cool for me because I've got Cassidy. She's a girl, so much different, but somewhat similar.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to speak to a young man, and he's 14, but like he looks like almost a grown man, but still, a child at the same time. It was really interesting for me. I'd be curious to kind of just hear what was the highlight for you guys.
Yeah, I'll say the same. So July 23rd, we hosted an event. JD brought his son out, and he was a very articulate, sharp young man. It was a trip for me to be now an older, grown man, and just thinking back and when I was in his age, and like, dang, I'm having those talks with the youth now that the youth was when I was the youth. The older gentlemen were having this talk with me. I remember just being so confused in that age, didn't know what. I mean, I feel like any young man's not going to necessarily have everything all figured out, but I feel like he was within his own power, and what he was doing. I know he loves sports, and I feel like he's really zoned in on that. He's focused. He seems like a very focused young man. So that definitely pressed upon me the most. His quietness, I feel, was not out of fear. It was out of I'm really listening. I'm really
taking it in.
It's really sponging everything up, and because we asked him questions or we asked for his feedback, he retained everything that we were throwing at him. And, we were all talking, and so that as well impressed upon me pretty good, because I feel like we don't capture the youth's attention as much and comprehension as much. And, he was sitting in a room full of strangers, and I think he felt comfortable and was taking heed to the messages that we were sent. So that's what stuck out with me the most, for sure. What about yourself, Rick?
And then for me, I just have the unique opportunity to spend some time with him a little bit more than you guys do. And just observing him and just realizing that he was, like, you could tell he is quiet, but he felt it was genuine. And just having a connection with his father, you could see that he's very observant of who his father magnet is drawn to, and that's like a superpower. And just realizing that with his quiet, he is taking in the information, he's understanding it, and just he's able to build. I think he's a great young man. He has a great role model with his father, and I'm excited to what his future beholds for him and what challenges they have to overcome, and how we might possibly be able to be there to help them throughout that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was really cool to have Corey there, Corey Elliott. We all grew up with him, but I'm really appreciative of him challenging Jason to kind of stand up and write on the board, what he picked up from the conversations that we were having. And, he came out quick with the family, friends, and focus. That really was, that was like a moment where I was like, okay, he's picking this up. he's on point, because, you can't get too much better than those three things. The triple F, that's like a triple threat when you a 14-year-old coming in with, a family that's backing you, really, putting you in a position to succeed. When you have focus with like the ability to know, okay, I'm a student athlete. I need to make sure I'm taking care of my homework. I need to make sure I'm taking care of my business at the end of the day, in order to be in a position to go out and perform athletically on a stage, to, be recruited by some of the best colleges in the nation. And what is it? Family, focus, and what was the third F? I just said it, but
family, for friends.
Friends, yeah. And just knowing which friends you need to have around you in order to help you achieve all the goals that you have at 14 and going beyond there. You are the company you keep, and it starts at a young age. So that was really cool.
The thing as well, having that event, what I gathered and what I felt good at the end was to have that type of young man's attention and to bring him around us. And like we said to him, we're going to be your big brothers, your mentors, and we get to talk about anything, not just all serious business, anything you just may be confused or not so sure about. We've probably been through the same situation as you. So to say that is like, I feel once we gather his attention, his trust, first of all, I think he then can go and evaluate his friends, his peers, and kind of feel, we all know our friends and our peer groups and know who might need some added, direction and guidance. So then you take your buddy, you take your boy, and you bring him under your wing, and you're like, let's go over here, let's go do this Saturday. Maybe bring a few of his buddies to the next event that we host, because we all know who needs to hear what. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to be around that type of energy, to be around that type of information and knowledge, because there's some that are just kind of still out there wandering and not too sure. I know myself, I was in that predicament. So I'm looking forward to seeing who he will bring with him on the next visits and sessions that we have.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I think everyone wants to be influential nowadays, like influencers, social media influencers, or whatever it may be. Just going back to like what an influencer was before we had TikTok and Instagram, Snapchat. It was really like your peer group and what kind of direction are they leading you in? Like, what type of influence are they having in your life? And like you mentioned there, he's in a very, very special place in life where he's starting to make that transition. He's going to a very prestigious school, and one of the richest counties, if not the richest county in the nation, in San Francisco. So he's also coming from a neighborhood. His parents take good care of him. He's growing up in Hercules, but he's got family in Richmond and Oakland and around the Bay Area. So now he's in a position to bring his family and friends that are around his age group, and even, the older ones that get to come out to the games and see him play. He gets to influence them by letting them see some of these prestigious events, and also, friends. He gets to bring them to some of his new classmates' parties if they're having, an open party or something like that. So, I shared a story with him. I won't go too much into detail, but just around how if you bring the wrong people to a crowd of folks who are opening up to you and willing to, let you into their home, literally, you have to think, okay, I'm risking my reputation by letting you be around people. So there's also going to be opportunities, like you mentioned, Bryce, where folks can just come sit down and talk with us, because we've been through all type of situations. We've, we've grown up in the Bay Area, lived and lost many. And so now that's also an opportunity for him to influence folks who may be headed down a path that, isn't the best chances, there's some risk in that direction. So just being influential, going back to the old school influence, I feel like an OG, but seriously, like.
Right. I was just thinking too, like when you mentioned that, the difference of influencers today and, back when we were coming up, they didn't have our influencers didn't have those viral moments. Today, the recognition for most influential people are all, their sound bite or their clip, their video clip. Back then, your reputation was heard because of the work you've done. You're reputable. There's a history to your name, and it's a certain narrative that carries with your name. At that time, they weren't able to post a video or post a good deed, whatever the case may be. Whatever they've done, you didn't see it. You knew about it. It was a fact. It was proven. It was
word of mouth. The story you hear about somebody, like, man. I heard Bryce jumped out the gym. He, hit his head on the backboard or something like that. You couldn't catch all this stuff on film. Exactly. You had to hear about this.
And then everyone's saying the same thing. It's just, it's a trip to kind of, when you think about it, compare it to today. Like, if someone's an influencer today, I'm more than likely seen their video clip, or something has spread across social media platform or internet sensation or whatever the streaming service is.
And I don't even want to get too deep in it, but the crazy part is how easy it is to fabricate some of this stuff these days. Like,
they get exposed eventually, though.
Yeah, it does get exposed eventually, but man, so many ways that people can fake the influence, and don't fall for it at 14, 15, in your teen years.
Right.
It's kind of easy to fall for it because, you haven't been put up on game, but that's what we're here to do.
Absolutely.
So we want to, bring folks around, because we've been through it. We've seen it. We haven't seen it all, but we're going to try and find someone who's seen whatever you're facing. And we got a circle. We definitely have that.
Definitely.
Well, certainly. I think even just by continuing to share our stories with each other, we do have this social media influence, but I feel like that genuine conversation of sharing what I've been through, what you've been through, throughout that connection, you're able to kind of show this is a valuable moment, that I am genuine. Because with the social media, you could definitely fake it and make it seem like what it is. But when you have that one-on-one interaction or in a group setting, you could kind of have that vibe of, is this really what he's about? Is he just talking this just for attention, or is that genuinely who he is? Mm-hmm. I think that's where we're able to set the bar and just be completely different. I mean, that's the name of the podcast, right? Raise the bar. Because we want to continue to level up and show where we can go. Like, we're here right now, but we're still doing our hardest to reach and obtain to get there. And then once we're getting there, we want to reach back and be able to help those come to that same level and playing field that we're at.
Right, absolutely. Excuse me, gentlemen. I just want to take a moment real quick and shout out Rick's background, man. Just listening to you talk and looking at those books behind you, and I'm looking at my blank white wall, man. I have to say, I'm quite jealous. That is some deep knowledge over there, man. That's beautiful. I see it, man.
I was thinking the same thing. I was just looking at Cornel West, Michelle Obama. I'm like, okay, man, you got backup over there. I got this Venetian backdrop of mine and
Yeah.
got a couple of towers, but you got that's a fresh background for sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and give me some on my blank canvas for the next one. But yeah, man, that's powerful right there.
But in all honesty, I really like your background just because I don't know, this is just the way that I see life. Is like when we interact with people, a lot of times, like, yeah, we have all our history and all that stuff back there. But when you're meeting someone for the first time, you really don't want to use your history from the past to inflict on what you're going to create right now with this person. So I like the clean slate. It's kind of like painting when we're interacting with people. You want your blank canvas so then that way you could create something. But if I'm bringing all the unnecessary baggage, I mean, I might have a funny feeling from something from the past that has nothing to do with this individual, but I'm using that feeling of that old past to interrupt this new feeling with someone new. So you always have to have that fresh canvas to kind of create something new, and not because the mind's gonna want to take you back to the past, but like this is something new. Let's just continue to paint and just create what we can create right here with this blank canvas.
Yeah,
So that's a good point.
I feel you there. I just think it's like a deep reverence you got back there. It's like that first impression when you look and see what you've got in the back. It's like, okay, I don't know this brother, but I know he knows his people, and he's got some history behind him. So
Right.
that's what I'm thinking. But no, that's a valid point as well.
We're going to I need you to get that shot every time now. I don't want to see any other angles. So leave the camera set up. Right.
Yep. One other thing I wanted to just bring up, going back to the event that we're hosting on September 17th. I feel like a lot of people want to talk about how to do this and how to do that. I mean, I'm not trying to buck the whole education system, but I think that's what a lot of people's gripe is these days. It's like, I'm listening to some teachers who aren't really in the mix anymore, especially when you're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars for education from somebody who is a professional teacher. And that's nothing wrong with that. They've done a lot of work to, kind of achieve the ability to teach at these prestigious institutes. But at the same time, I think our generation going forward, because we're all millennials here, the Generation Z especially is like starting to rethink this whole educational system. I really think that it's important to talk about how we have done things, how we are, achieving some of the goals that we have. And instead of teaching or talking to the youth about, hey, this is a quick, tutorial on how to do things. It's like, no, let's go through this together. Like, let's get on the board, let's write it out. And not only will we explain how we have done this, and not too long ago, we're not that old, recently I have been able to accomplish these things. Now let's put your full picture together. Like, what are the challenges that you're facing? Why are you seeing these problems? Okay, what are you trying to accomplish? Why is that the goal that you have? When do you want to accomplish it? Like, really breaking it down, putting together almost like a project plan for how you're going to manage your life, and how we have done so. You're going to have like a consulting approach with it. I really just want to voice that. And for the youth, like breaking it down even simpler, because, we don't want to talk over anyone's heads, but like we did with Jason, letting him speak to us about like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Because 10 years will fly by. Like, you will be shocked at like how quickly you'll go from 15 to 25 and 35. I haven't gotten there yet, but I see it coming in quick. So it's just really important to start to picture what you want out of life, because I will say this every chance I get. I feel like I'm the most blessed young Black man in the world to have my two older brothers in front of me, because it wasn't hard for me to tell where I want my life to go. I could just look at you guys and say, okay, I want to be somewhere around where they're at, because what they're doing, I feel like, is a great representation of, our family that came before us, but also this is a great opportunity just by watching how you guys are financially, compensated. So really, it's just important for us to get these young men and like Black men, Latino men, anybody, people of color, anybody, people who are, dealing with any sort of adversity, we can speak to it and we can help you break it down. So don't be afraid to come in with like a plan or an idea of what you want out of life. That way, we can just kind of hit the ground running with you and, be candid, straight up.
Absolutely, yeah. Just to have the approach with a plan in mind. I think, like you said, it'll help just steer us in the right directory, right trajectory. So, and there's going to be some without the plan, but that's when pick at your brain and try to find those interests and whatever they may have an interest in. You just gotta. I think for the most part, everyone has an idea of what their interest is, no matter what it is. And even if we don't necessarily agree with it, we're going to push you to be 100% about it, though. There's not going to be no half stepping or, like if that's what you voice out loud, then, embrace it, embody it, and really be about it. There's no half. It shouldn't just don't half step yourself, because then you're just letting yourself down at that point.
Yep, absolutely. It's like Bryce said, if you say you want to be a rapper, I'm a big statistics probability guy, so I'm gonna run those numbers. So I'm like, what are the chances of this actually happening? And don't be offended by it. Stand strong, or rethink. What's another option out there for you? But the homework that I would give, and I know y'all just started school back up, and you're like, what is homework? All I ask, if you are planning on joining us on September 17th, is write down, if you can. I know pens and pencils are starting to become this this fossil of accessory, but if you can, write it down, because there's something about really taking action and putting pen to paper that's just a little bit deeper than typing things out. But if you can, write out 3 things that you want to accomplish in the next 5 to 10 years. And then, of course, we're going to get a little bit more closer to today, like more present goals, of course. But, that's something we can speak to then. But that if you just share 5 to 10 years, 3 goals, that will help us see, okay, this is the direction that they want to go in. Okay, let's break it down. So if you can, write it out. If you can just think about it, I'll take that. But just be prepared, because we're gonna ask. We want to hear from you. We don't want to just get you in a room and start talking at you. We want to talk to you, talk with you.
Yeah, be prepared. We will have that whiteboard and those dry eraser markers on board. So we want to see the brain translate to the whiteboard. I see something about seeing it written, like you said. They're old tools that aren't too much used these days. It's still something about going back to the basics. And you just, when your brain is telling you and you feel like you're on that spot, and I gotta show something here. But it's a serious, a question I'm being asked. I like to see the brain work and then see what comes out of that. And then it also lets the room know, okay, you put some thought in this, or you're probably just writing anything. You're not really, so it does. It's a little bit of pressure. I can understand that, but it just, like I said, it just lets the people behind you in the room who are watching you write, let them know if this is a thought out translation that you're putting out. So, just be keen on that, and, don't take your time. There's no rush.
Yep.
Thinking is, see, I feel like I know for myself, when I was younger and put on the spot, I gotta come quick. I think that time is ticking. They want me. They watching me. You know what I'm saying? But no, take your time. I'd rather see someone thinking and giving it some deep thought and really digging within themselves. That's a beautiful thing to see. You really like digging. Everyone don't have the answers immediately at the top of their brain. So take your time, think, and put out what you mean, opposed to just something rushed and just, let me just throw this up there. Like I said, we've all been there. We've all been like, let me just hurry up and get up and get down.
Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned, our president Obama, right over Rick's left ear, he's like
that ear. Stop. Did we lose him?
No one's rushing you. No one like, hey, hurry up. Sorry if I'm breaking up a little bit. It's telling me my connection is unstable, but there's nothing wrong with taking a minute and just thinking it out. You don't want to leave us hanging for like 5 minutes, but, take yourself like 20 seconds if you need to really just gather your thoughts, because that makes us anticipate, okay, he's really putting together some thinking here. So yeah, I'll even kind of throw out a little bit of incentive, some Benny Franks. I'm bringing some Benjamins, and I'm gonna let people pitch us on, why their idea makes the most sense for their future and why it's a good idea. Hey, like, let's have a little elevator pitch, as they call it, contest there. Whoever's brave enough to, tell us why their idea makes sense for their future, and why we're going to go back to their parents and tell them, hey, it's going to be a good rapper in the future, or it's going to be a good engineer, civil engineer, or, a IT consultant, bank manager, whatever you want to be, marketing, whatever, just come with a plan. That's all we ask.
Right. That's how you get people to invest in you. And this is like you say, you bring the Benjamins. We're the investors. We want to believe what you're selling us and telling us what you're about. So that's just going to be what you're going to do, replicate in life anyway. So you might as well get used to that pitch.
Yep. Money on the line.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to for sure. Last month's session was awesome. And as we close out the summer, going into the fall, end of 2022 flew by. It's kind of ridiculous to even say, but getting close to the fourth quarter. Let's close it out strong, fellas.
Yes, sir. Definitely. And also, definitely, we will be adding some clips of the last event. We did capture some moments and sound bites, so we will be adding a bit of that. Let you guys kind of hear in on the conversations we had. As Royce mentioned, our good friend Corey came, and I definitely learned a lot of information from him. Corey was doing an amazing job just with his questions, and I could see him making the young man think and interacting and getting his input or getting his feedback from the young man. So that was something to watch and see as well on the clips that we will be sharing. And I want to give a big shout out to CoBiz in Richmond for allowing us to hold this event, and looking forward to holding another one with them September 17th. And we're just going to continue to move things forward. Summer's wrapping up and it's time to get busy now.
Let's do it. Yeah. Big shout out to, like you said, CoBiz in Richmond and Corey with the Black Neighborhood. It takes a village, and we got a supportive one around us, so we're trying to recruit more youth to come and accept some of the resources that we have and really make strides here. So it's been a pleasure as always speaking with you guys. I don't know, Rick, you have anything else, man? You got some knowledge back there you want to share with us?
Just encouraging the youth and the young adults not to be shy. If the longer we let it hinder and just hide away in our head, like that thought can turn into something else. I know there's been plenty of times where we see something, it's like, oh, I thought of that. But guess what? That thought wasn't disciplined enough because you didn't put it on paper. Once you put it on paper, and then you're making the next step to envision it. And it's like we think of several things. I mean, I remember back in the day when PlayStations were getting broke and what have you. And we were able to put those back together. And now look, you don't even need to be online anymore. As long as you have the system connected to the internet, you don't even need the disc anymore. So there's ways to make this life easier for us. So the more that we have these type of conversations and be able to build and share with each other, we're able to create greatness. And I feel like there's more we're able to put it together, put it out there, put it pen to paper. We do something great amongst each other.
Oh man, I just saw a visual. I have to throw this in there before we wrap. Like you mentioned, Rick, writing things out. Imagine you're getting rained on and you have your drainage that can just go into the ground, right? And it's flowing. So you have a clean, fresh source of water if you live in an area that's not too messed up. But you have a clean source of water that's being rained down on you. And it's just flowing out onto the ground, which is good for the plants that are around the drainage. But if you want to collect that water and now store it and then have yourself some fresh rainwater for later on, if there's ever a drought or anything like that. So now not only can the plants drink it, but you can drink it, or whatever need that you have it collected. That's the difference between when you are thinking things out loud and you just kind of letting it fly, but not writing it down. You're not collecting that resource that you have, those ideas. Instead, you're just letting it spill out and then it's gone when you really need it, when you really need those ideas later on in life, when, times get hard and, now you need to start to build. It's hard to build once you haven't collected those thoughts that you had fresh back in the day. I just wanted to kind of share that visual with you guys. Thank you for sharing that, Rick.
Welcome. Thank you for engaging with me and sharing more detail on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Always good talking with you.
Always.
You guys too.
Take care. Peace.
Take care. Love you guys.
Love you too.